This is about how BlackRock sees the geopolitical risks for the year. How is the geopolitical landscape? Geopolitical risks, those potential threats that arise from political decisions, conflicts, or any other factor that can influence international relations, are often overlooked. Yet, they are the invisible gears that steer the wheel of our global society. From the power play between nations to the rise of cyber warfare, these risks are as real as they are influential. Understanding them is not just about keeping up with current affairs. It's about grasping the underlying forces that can shape our world in profound ways. As we navigate the intricate web of international relations, it's important to keep an eye on these potential game changers. So, let's dive into the top 10 geopolitical risks that could potentially shape our world. Imagine waking up one day to find the internet gone. This is not science fiction. It's the reality of major cyber attacks. A major cyber attack is an event where hackers exploit vulnerabilities in digital infrastructure to cause widespread damage. They can disrupt essential services, compromise sensitive information, and even cripple economies. Remember the recent attacks on major corporations and government institutions? Those were not isolated incidents, but part of a growing trend. Hackers are becoming more sophisticated, targeting not just individual users, but entire infrastructures. These incidents highlight the vulnerability of our critical systems. From power grids to healthcare facilities, from financial institutions to government databases, no sector is immune. This is a growing concern for a simple reason. Our world is increasingly digital. We rely on the internet for everything, from communication to commerce, from education to entertainment. This dependence makes us vulnerable. As we move forward, we must understand that digital security is not just about protecting individual devices or accounts. It's about safeguarding our entire digital ecosystem. As our world becomes increasingly digital, the threat of major cyber attacks looms larger. The specter of terror attacks has long been a threat to security. Major terror attacks are large-scale violent acts intended to create fear and destabilize societies, often carried out by extremist groups or individuals. From the devastating events of September 11, 2001, to the more recent attacks in Europe, Asia, and Africa, these acts of terror have left indelible scars on our global consciousness. Despite significant strides in counter-terrorism efforts, major terror attacks remain a top concern. The reasons are multifold. First, the rise of radical ideologies continues to fuel these acts. Second, the ease of access to information and materials necessary for such attacks has increased with the advent of the internet. Lastly, the element of surprise inherent in these attacks makes them hard to predict and prevent. In a world of borders and boundaries, terror attacks are a reminder of shared vulnerability. The world's two largest economies are in a strategic competition that could reshape the world order. As we speak, the US and China are engaged in a head-to-head race, a rivalry that spans economic, technological, and political arenas. Their strategic competition is not just about who holds the most sway on the global stage, it's also about the clash of two distinct ideologies and governance models. And it's this aspect that makes the competition a concern. This competition could lead to a decoupling, or a bifurcation of the global economy and technology sectors into two distinct spheres, each led by one of these superpowers, and this could affect global trade, technological advancements, and geopolitical alliances. Moreover, the potential flashpoints like Taiwan add an additional layer of complexity and risk to this competition. The recent elections in Taiwan have heightened these tensions. However, China's fiscal policies are a real threat to their stability. Challenges include high debt, slowing growth, demographic decline, and a potential property market crash. Government's options include stimulus spending, financial regulation, and reforms. The future depends on how effectively China addresses these issues. It could face a period of significant volatility, but a complete collapse is not a guaranteed outcome. Manufacturing is reducing and the population is aging. Technology has connected us like never before, and global technology decoupling is a growing concern. It's the process where nations start to separate their technology ecosystems, creating distinct and incompatible systems. Imagine if favorite apps or devices don't work when you cross certain borders. This decoupling can be driven by economic competition, national security concerns, or political ideologies. And it's not just about inconvenience, it can lead to a fragmented internet, hinder global collaboration, and trigger increased tariffs and trade wars. From a business perspective, it could mean increased costs as companies have to adapt to different tech standards. From a user's perspective, it could limit access to global digital services, and at the geopolitical level, it could exacerbate tensions between nations. In the digital age, technology decoupling could create new divides. Tension between Russia and NATO is heating up. This potential conflict is not just a matter of military posturing. It's a power play that's rooted in a complex history and geopolitical strategy, with potential impacts that reach far beyond the borders of the parties involved. The possibility of a Russia-NATO conflict is a grave concern for many reasons. First, there's the sheer military might of both sides, which could lead to a devastating war. Then there's the economic fallout. Sanctions, trade disruptions, and the potential for cyber warfare could all have global implications and uncertainty. The unpredictability of this situation is what makes it volatile and concerning. The Middle East has long been a powder keg of geopolitical tension. The Gulf region, in particular, is a hotspot, with conflicts ongoing and escalating. The recent Gaza war and signs of regional escalation serve to underline this point. The longer and more lethal the Israeli operation, the higher the chances of a broader conflict, potentially engulfing regions like the Red Sea, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. The implications of Gulf tensions are far-reaching. This could disrupt global energy markets, create refugee crises, and destabilize the broader Middle East. Furthermore, an escalation in the Gulf could draw in global powers, leading to a wider geopolitical conflict. These effects that could be felt globally, impacting economies, societies, and international relations. As tensions rise in the Gulf, the potential impact rises. Emerging markets are the future of the global economy. A political crisis in these regions can alter the global market. For one, these markets are engines of global growth and innovation. Political instability can disrupt this progress, affecting everything from trade to technology, and rely on stability and growth. A political crisis can lead to economic downturns, social unrest, and even conflict. The potential impacts of such crises are far-reaching and can derail development, exacerbate inequality, and fuel social tensions. And as these markets become more interconnected with the global economy, their stability becomes our stability. Their prosperity is the consumer's prosperity. That's why it's crucial to keep an eye on political developments in these regions. North Korea remains a wild card in global geopolitics. This small yet formidable nation, ruled by an unconventional leadership, has long been a source of international concern due to its nuclear aspirations and unpredictable behavior. The potential conflict with North Korea isn't just about the threat of nuclear warfare, but also the ripple effects such a conflict could have on the global economy and international relations. North Korea's strategic location, sandwiched between China and South Korea, makes it a vital cog in the geopolitical machine. Any conflict involving North Korea could draw in major powers, escalating tensions and potentially leading to a wider conflict. Furthermore, the nation's extensive missile program and nuclear capabilities make it a serious threat, not just regionally, but globally. Economic repercussions are also a major concern. A conflict with North Korea could disrupt trade routes and affect markets. Adding to the complexity is the country's closed-off nature, which makes it difficult for the international community to gauge its intentions accurately. USA policies can be slow to respond. Climate policy gridlock is a growing concern. This is when the urgent need for robust climate policies is stalled by political disagreements, resulting in little to no progress. This gridlock can have profound impacts. It can delay the implementation of measures needed to combat climate change, from renewable energy initiatives to carbon pricing. It sends mixed signals to industries and the international community about the pace potentially slowing investment and innovation in clean technologies. Delays in climate action exacerbate environmental damage and increase the financial burden of future climate mitigation and adaptation efforts. Europe, once a beacon of unity, now faces the risk of fragmentation. The idea of a united Europe brought together by shared values and economic interests is being challenged. From the east to the west, nationalist sentiments are on the rise, threatening to pull apart the fabric of the European Union. This fragmentation is not just a matter of politics, but also of economics. The potential impacts are immense, with potential disruptions to trade, investment, and even security. It's a concern because the European Union, representing over 20% of the global economy, plays a significant role in maintaining global stability. As this is questioned, stability could be at risk. Geopolitical risks could reshape our future, creating uncertainties. Complexities of major cyber attacks, terror attacks, US-China strategic competition, and global technology decoupling continue to loom. The potential for conflict between Russia and NATO, escalating Gulf tensions, political crises in emerging markets, and the unpredictable nature of North Korea further affect these risks. Climate policy gridlock and the fragmentation of Europe pose additional challenges. Together, these 10 risks necessitate understanding. These risks serve as a reminder of an interconnected world, and the ripple effects of these geopolitical events can have an impact. The more we understand these risks, the better prepared we can be for whatever the future holds.